Hello everyone, and welcome to today's micro training presented by the Public Assistance Training section. Today's topic is work completed versus work to be completed and method of repair. Our objectives today are to understand the difference between work completed and work to be completed, to understand the importance of capturing both of these during the site inspection, and to understand the method of repair. We will also talk about how to document these on the site inspection report and input them into Grants Manager. It's important to understand why we need to capture both work completed and work to be completed. The site inspection report is meant to capture all disaster-related damages on the site inspection work order, whether or not the work has been done yet at the time of inspection. A complete and accurate site inspection report helps ensure that an applicant is reimbursed for all of its eligible costs that are based on concise descriptions of all disaster-related damage gathered during the site inspection. So what is the difference between work completed and work to be completed? At its most basic level, work completed is disaster-related damage that has been repaired, and work to be completed is disaster-related damage that still needs to be repaired. As a site inspector, you are documenting all of the disaster-related damage listed on the site inspection work order, both work completed at the time of inspection and work to be completed at the time of inspection. You may have heard it said that as a site inspector you don't inspect completed work. This is generally true in the sense that an applicant may have completed work not listed on the site inspection work order and therefore not inspected. However, if something on the site inspection work order is partially complete, you will document what was damaged in the disaster and then indicate both what work has been done already, which is work completed, as well as what work still remains to be done, or work to be completed. Also, if you learn in your 24-hour call that items on your work order have since been completed, talk with your Site Inspection Task Force lead because the Program Delivery Manager may still want the work inspected anyway. When documenting site inspections, keep in mind a facility is made up of components, some of which may be complete at the time of inspection, while others may not. Additionally, components themselves may only be partially completed at the time of inspection. Let's talk about a couple of examples. The first is a building, which is Category E work, in which disaster-related roof damage allowed water intrusion, causing additional damage to the interior drywall. At the time of inspection, the applicant had repaired the roof, but the damaged drywall was neither removed nor replaced. The building in this case is the facility. The roof is a component of the facility, and the work to repair the roof is considered work completed, or 100% complete, because it was already done at the time of inspection. The drywall is another component of the facility, and the work to repair the drywall is considered work to be completed because none of it had been completed at the time of inspection. The overall facility, then, is less than 100% complete because at least one of its components, in this case the drywall, is not fully repaired yet. Using this example, how would a site inspector document the differences between work completed and work to be completed on the site inspection report? In this example, we have one site with two components, the roof and the drywall. For the first component, the site inspector will list the roof as the damaged component and a basic description that includes the type of materials, in this case, asphalt shingles. The component's model, type, or capacity would also go in this box if that were applicable. In the location box, the site inspector would provide the address and GPS coordinates of the facility. In the damage dimensions box, they would enter the roof dimensions, both overall and of the damaged area or areas. The next section, Method of Repair, is where the site inspector would list how the applicant either repaired or is planning to repair a component. In this case, the roof repair is complete, so the method of repair should list how the applicant repaired the roof. The cause of damage is also important and should be entered to the right of the method of repair. In this example, the applicant indicated that hurricane force winds damaged the roof. To the right of the method of repair are boxes to check whether the repairs are being done by the applicant's own forces, which would be force account or FA, or by contractors, which would be CTR, or by both. The overall calculated quantity and corresponding units go to the right of these boxes, as well as the percent complete for this component. In this example, the applicant replaced the roof in kind using contract support, and the work is done, so the CTR box is checked, and the percent complete is 100. Quantity and units of 1,600 square feet represent the damaged area of 50 feet long by 32 feet wide. The next component on the site inspection report is the damaged drywall. Because both this component and the roof component are part of the same site, both are listed under Site 1. The damaged component is the drywall, the location is the foyer or front desk area of the building, and the dimensions of the damaged area are 76 feet long by 8 feet high. The method of repair is to replace the damaged drywall in kind back to pre-disaster conditions. Because the applicant plans to have this work done as part of a contract, the CTR box is also checked. The quantity is 76 by 8 or 608 square feet, and the percent complete is 0 because none of the work is done yet. Of course, the site inspector would also take photos to document the damages and repairs. Let's look at another example. This one is a baseball field, which is Category G work. This is one facility with several damages due to a tornado. Damages include the perimeter fence, the scoreboard, and stadium lighting. Let's say as the site inspector you get to the inspection and the applicant informs you that the scoreboard has been replaced back to pre-disaster conditions and is 100% complete. The applicant also informs you that the stadium lighting is 45% complete and the perimeter fence is still 0% complete. What would you as the site inspector do? In this case, the site inspector will document the scoreboard, which is component 1, on the damage component sheet of the site inspection report and mark it as 100% complete. The site inspector will continue to document the perimeter fence, which is component 2, and the stadium lighting, which is component 3, as damages, and document the percentage of work complete or to be completed based on the information provided by the applicant. Let's look at how this would be entered in the site inspection report. As you can see, all of the components listed on this site inspection report are Site 2, the baseball field. For component 1 at Site 2, the LED scoreboard, it measures 16 feet long by 8 feet high by 1 foot wide. We document here that the work is 100% complete and explain in the method of repair that the applicant replaced it in kind and returned it back to pre-disaster condition. Moving down, we're still at Site 2, but we are documenting component 2 at Site 2, which is the perimeter fencing. Here we provide some additional detail about the damaged component itself. In this case, that it is a 2-inch chain link fence. It is 0% complete, and in the method of repair, it indicates the applicant plans to replace the fencing in kind and return it to pre-disaster conditions. The term in kind basically means similar or equal, essentially that they are putting back something equivalent to what was there before. Now let's take a look at damage component 3 at Site 2, the stadium lighting. The applicant indicated the damaged lighting was 450 watt LED stadium lighting. The percentage of work complete is 45%, and the type of labor the applicant identified is a combination of force account and contractor, because they said they removed the damaged lights with their own forces, but they are contracting out to replace them. So, in the method of repair, the site inspector would break this down by starting with work completed as removed damaged lights from light poles, performed by force account. Then we have work to be completed, which is the remaining 55%. Replace and reattach the light poles by contractor. For the purposes of the site inspector will enter the stadium lighting as a component on the site inspection report and ask the applicant to estimate the percentage completed at the time of inspection. As a site inspector, you can rely on the applicant's estimates of the percent complete for each component and for the overall percent complete for the facility. You do not need to estimate these yourself. So on this report, we want to be able to delineate between work completed and work to be completed, as well as the labor type, especially if an applicant chooses to use a combination, such as force account and contractor. Let's talk in a little more detail about the method of repair. Whereas the damage description and dimensions indicate the scope and size of what was damaged, the method of repair describes how the applicant plans to repair or replace each damaged component. The method of repair is identified and indicated by the applicant during the site inspection and includes the labor type, whether force account, contract, or both. The method of repair is important because it is used to support or validate costs claimed for work completed, and it is used to develop scoping and costing for work to be completed. As we saw earlier, the site inspector will document the method of repair on the facility component damage page of the site inspection report. There is a box specifically for the method of repair. As you see in this visual, it is the area highlighted in green. The method of repair is required for all permanent work categories C through G. The method of repair should identify the difference between work completed and work to be completed, if applicable, as well as the type of labor. Will the applicant's force account labor, material, and equipment be used in the repair or replacement? Or will the applicant hire a contractor to complete repairs or replacement? Or will it be a combination of both? If there is a combination of both, try to describe and delineate who will be doing what work within the method of repair box. Going back to our baseball stadium example then, you can see we have Site 2 damage component 450 watt LED stadium lighting. The percentage of work complete is 45%, meaning 45% of the work has been done, and the remaining 55% needs to be completed. In addition, we see in the labor type section we have checked off both, meaning there was or will be a combination of force account labor and contract labor. Let's move over to the method of repair box. We have WC, or work completed, identified as removed damaged lights from light poles, -FA. FA means force account labor. Then we have WTBC, which is work to be completed, where we have identified that the replacement and reattachment of the lights will be done by a contractor. Now that we've talked about documenting the method of repair on the site inspection report, let's discuss how we enter it into Grants Manager. The Method of Repair tab in Grants Manager should be filled out after you have input all damage components into the damage description and dimensions. Why, you may ask? Well, if you don't input all of your damage components prior to moving on to the Method of Repair tab, the tab will not populate correctly. So let's break this down even further. For example, if you enter a component that is 25% complete in the component page, it appears as both work completed and work to be completed under the method of repair. This is because 25% of that work has been completed, but the remaining 75%, which is work to be completed, still needs to be finished to bring that facility back to pre-disaster condition. If you enter a 100% completed component, it will only populate in the Work Completed tab, and if you enter a component that is 0% complete, it will only populate in the Work to be Completed tab. For example, we have culvert damage associated with road damage here. There are 6 total damage components listed. 5 out of the 6 components are 0% complete, and one of the 6 components, incidental debris on the road shoulder, is 75% complete, which means 75% of that component will populate in the Work Complete tab in the Method of Repair, and the remaining 25% of work to be completed for that component will populate in the Work to be Completed tab of the Method of Repair. Here's what this looks like in Grants Manager. There is one component listed in Work Completed, which is the incidental debris that is 75% complete, and there are 6 components listed in the Work to be Completed, which include the 5 components that are 0% complete and the remaining 25% of the incidental debris that still remains to be completed. On another note, when it comes to inputting your method of repair into Grants Manager, you should be breaking it out, very similar to how it was broken out in the site inspection report. For instance, if you looked at the Work Completed tab on this visual, which is for incidental debris, 75% work completed, the site inspector has stated in the labor type section, force account labor completed 75% of the incident debris removed from Paulsburg Forest Road, South Side Shoulder. So based on what we just discussed, let's go back to our baseball stadium example and break down what that would look like in the Method of Repair tab in Grants Manager. You all see how we have work completed, and then in the labor type section, where it states force account, contractor, mutual aid, or other, we have broken down the damage components that have work completed on them. These include the LED scoreboard that was 100% complete, and we identified that it was a contractor who completed the work. And then we had our damaged stadium lighting that was removed by force account labor. Now moving down to work to be completed, looking at the labor type text box, we have again broken down our damaged components to identify which ones will be completed by force account and which ones will be completed by a contractor. In this case, our perimeter fencing will be replaced using force account labor, and our 450 watt lighting will be repaired using a contractor. The important part here is to make sure you have documented which damage components are completed or are work to be completed, and which work will be performed through force account or is being contracted out. Now let's discuss the Other Work/Repair Comments section. This includes information stated by the applicant during the site inspection that pertains to the additional text boxes in the Method of Repair section, such as changes in material or changes in size or footprint. If there is a change of material, the site inspector should comment yes in the Change of Material section and document that change there. If there is a desire or plan for a change in material, but the applicant was unsure about this decision at the time of inspection, perhaps a mitigation proposal or alternate project, the response in that section should be no, with a comment stating they wish or plan for a change and would like FEMA assistance for further opportunities or discussion. From the previous slide, this slide provides an example of how work completed and work to be completed can be further broken down within the Method of Repair section. In this case, incidental debris is 75% complete. As work completed, the applicant removed debris from the road and the ditch and temporarily piled it within the road right-of-way, or ROW. Work to be completed, which is the other 25%, the applicant will use force account labor to haul debris to the county landfill at the GPS coordinates noted. The Other Work/Repair Comment section also identifies additional pertinent information related to the surface component and the striping component being claimed by the applicant. For instance, in the surface section, it indicates the applicant stated that they will need to saw cut the pavement requiring additional asphalt pavement estimated to be approximately 24 feet long by 30 feet wide by 4 inches deep. This information was identified during the site inspection by the applicant when asked how they planned on repairing the damage, and should be captured within the Other Work/Repair Comments, as everything on the site inspection report should be transferred into Grants Manager within the damage description and dimensions. With that, we have concluded our micro-training on work completed versus work to be completed and the method of repair. We hope you found this useful. Before you go, we also would like to share with you the Department of Homeland Security Office of Inspector General's hotline for reporting corruption, waste, fraud, abuse, mismanagement, or misconduct. To reach them, you can call 1-800-323-8603 or contact them by mail at DHS Office of Inspector General /mailstop0305, Attention Hotline at 245 Murray Lane Southwest, Washington, D.C. 20528-0305. We also want to share with you that FEMA has procurement guidance available at www.fema.gov/grants/procurement. There you can read about the Uniform Rules, which is FEMA's procurement guidance for recipients and subrecipients under 2 CFR Part 200, and you can also read about FEMA's procurement disaster assistance teams who are available to provide additional assistance about procurement-related topics. Finally, if you have questions about Grants Manager or Grants Portal, you can call the hotline at 866-337-8448. Here we've shown their hours of operation, which does change on occasion, so always check in Grants Manager and Grants Portal for that information. You can also email the support mailbox at FEMA-recovery-pa-grants@fema.dhs.gov. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you at our next webinar.